Welcome friends to a new session on the course School Organization, Administration and Management. In this topic, we will have a discussion on definition of institutional planning, meaning and importance of institutional planning, characteristics of institutional planning, steps involved in institutional planning, scope and merits of institutional planning. Planning is an attempt to organize resources for the attainment of a chosen goal. It is a purposeful action. Planning can be defined as a process of taking decisions for future actions in order to achieve predetermined objectives by optimum utilization of available resources in a limited time frame. Effective planning is a key element to any organization. Institutional planning is a program of development and improvement prepared by educational institutions on the basis of its needs and the resources available, with a view to improve the school program and school practices. It is a process of thinking, deciding and willing so that an institution becomes a model institution according to its purpose. The plan may be for long or short duration according to need. It is based on the principle of optimum utilization of resources. Institutional planning is a plan for the institution as a unit so that its targets are defined in the plan, its time-bound progress is determined, the rate of progress per unit of time is also determined, and the commitments are made in the plan which regulate and accelerate its working. It is a scheme for the efficient running, steady growth, balanced expansion and priority wise expansion of an institution. New trends in planning. Institutional planning is the product of new trends in planning which advocate making the process of planning a two-way process. Planning has been mostly coming from above, but new planning should commence mostly from below. Institutional planning starts the process of planning from the grassroots. There is a radical change and a movement to shift major emphasis towards planning at the base. Our educational planning in the past had certain characteristics. First one, it had been a centralized affair being prepared by a central agency and then sent down to sub-agencies for implementation. Second, it had been carried out as a high-level planning resembling an inverted pyramid. Third, it had been purely expenditure-oriented and not task-oriented or result-oriented. Fourth, it did not involve the teachers in its preparation or even in implementation. Fifth, it did not emphasize the implementation part and the full utilization of the already existing material and human resources. Sixth, it did not attempt any planning at the level of institutions. Now, the new trend in the planning process involves first, progressive measures of decentralization of educational planning, emphasis on implementation, administration and methodology, preparing plan from the institutional point of view and associating the local community actively. The purpose of planning is to ensure success of the institution, good method to solve problems, efficient and effective planning to keep pace with the time, and it is needed to encourage the initiative and creativity of teachers. Now, let us see some of the definitions of institutional planning. According to M. B. Butch, institutional planning is a program of development and improvement prepared by an educational institution on the basis of its felt and the resources available or likely to be available, with a view to improving school program and school practices. It is based on the principle of optimum utilization of the resources available in the school and the community. According to E.W. Franklin, institutional planning is a milestone in the journey towards the improvement of education. The teacher is the kingpin in any educational effort. It is for the first time that the teaching community is being asked to act as a planner and executor of educational improvement. Meaning of institutional planning. It is an institutional mission to ensure high quality of teaching and training of young generation with efficient skill for contributing to the national development within the framework of present institutional management. Institutional planning is a plan for development as a whole, is a plan for improvement of the existing situation. It is a plan for felt needs, necessity of the institution, plan for an effort to make a balance between available resources and planning, and an effort to find out to be available resources. Now let us see the need and importance of institutional planning. Institutional planning is a milestone in the journey towards the improvement of education. Institutional planning is need based because of certain reasons. It ensures success of the educational enterprise. It helps in giving a proper direction to educational planning in the country. It encourages initiatives of teachers, which in turn promotes developmental prospects of the school. It leads to optimum utilization of existing resources by reducing wastage at every stage of educational planning. It accelerates works among teachers and develops cooperation among them. It enables the teacher to experiment with the new ideas. It democratizes the process of planning. It is essential to involve administrators, teachers, parents, students, educationists and social reformers in the process of educational planning, because democratic planning presupposes popular participation. Educational planning has to be decentralized to the district level and still further down to the level of the institution. By recognizing each institution as a unit, it is quite easy to develop district and state educational plans. In such a situation, the individuality of an institution is not only preserved but promoted and becomes the center of planning. There should be complete revolution in education starting from below. The institution will enjoy academic freedom in this arrangement. The teachers, administrators and even students will assume their rightful leadership in the process of educational reconstruction. Let us now discuss some of the characteristics of institutional planning. No two schools can be identical in their needs and requirements. Hence, every school will have to prepare an institutional plan for itself independently. An ideal school plan will have certain characteristics. 1. It is need based and not grant based. It should be prepared according to the needs of the institution and not on the basis of grants sanctioned. Second, it is based on present resources. It attaches more importance to the present human and material resources. Instead of going on with demands of more, it endeavors to make optimum utilization of the resources in hand. It should aim at the maximum use of the available human and material resources. Third, it should limit itself to the total improvement of the school and should not suggest work for the district educational authorities or demand funds from the Directorate of Education for its implementation. Fourth, it is specific for an institution. There cannot be a single plan for all the institutions. Fifth, it is task oriented. As it is written in the form of tasks rather than the finance, it is task oriented. Sixth, scientific. It is scientific in nature. Seventh, no waste. Institutional planning avoids all waste. Grants received, if not utilized, are surrendered rather than wasted through hasty purchase of useless materials. Eighth, cooperative institutional planning. Planning is a cooperative effort undertaken by all the staff members of the school involving school staff, community, management, pupils, parents, etc. Ninth, apart from involvement, it results in motivation for students, teachers, management and the community. 10th, prospective. Institutional planning is prospective. It spotlights not only present needs but also future needs of the institution. It can be prepared as an annual and 5-year plan. 11. Goal oriented. It is purposive and goal oriented. It should be based on certain predetermined objectives and goals, and all activities planned should help directly or indirectly to achieve these ends. 12th, inspection. It serves as the basis for annual inspection. 13. Development. Inspection is designed for the development of the institution. 14. It is continuously developing. An institutional plan cannot be rigid and static. 15. It forms the basis for the district, state and national plans. 16. It should be a plan of work and not a charter of demands. It must aim at utilizing what is available and not demanding what is not available. 17. If at all it needs more finance, the same should be available from the local community, which must be a party to the preparation of the school plan. 18. The plan should have a well defined and finely classified activities for the school improvement and school development. 19. It should be flexible in nature so that at various stages of its implementation, changes may be effected according to needs and requirements. 20. It should only further the cause of education, its quality and quantity, and should not criticize and condemn the approach of district authorities or the Directorate of Education. 21. It should be in consonance with the district educational plan. 22. It should neither be too ambitious to be implemented nor too modest to make any appreciable improvement. It should therefore be a working plan based on the capacity of teachers, the needs of the students and the local community. 23rd, it should clearly indicate the time limit for its implementation. It can be a short term one or a long term one, depending on the circumstances and the needs of the school. 24. It should have a plan of evaluation also, so that the result of the efforts could be evaluated after some intervals. 25. It should have a balanced approach so that it does not tilt towards academics or out of class activities alone. The principal has to play a very important role as a coordinator. We shall now see the essentials of institutional planning. First one, different levels of improvement programs. We cannot insist on the same level of progress in different improvement approaches. Some programs will progress at a faster rate than others, depending upon their degree of simplicity or complexity and upon the ability of the teachers concerned. Second, each school has its own individuality. No two schools are alike. Therefore, any two schools cannot be given the same plan to follow. A school should not borrow or import institutional plan for its improvement. It should evolve its own plan, keeping in view its needs, priorities, problems and resources. Third, involvement of all teachers of the school. In the process of preparing the school plan, the headmaster should take care to involve himself or herself as well as all the teachers of the school. Every member of the school population should be involved in the task of preparation and implementation of the school plan. Efforts should be made to involve the community groups as well as the students. Committees consisting of parents, teachers and students may be formed to prepare and carry out different aspects of the plan. Fourth, forward-looking plan. While planning for the current session, the experience of the past should be taken into consideration. At the same time, the plan should be forward-looking, aiming at excellence in the near future. Let us now discuss some of the areas of the institutional plan. Every area linked with the school is an appropriate area to be covered in the plan. Some of the major areas are: first one is academic. It is the most prominent area for the operation of institutional plan. The plan will try to enrich the curricula and improve the instructional programs. The immediate purpose may be to improve the school results both in the internal and external examinations. The efforts will be focused on reducing the wastage, stagnation, improving attendance, ensuring regularity in homework, assignments, etc. Second is co-curricular. The school plan will cover the areas like beautification of the campus, physical education, literary activities, inter-house competitions, etc. The school environment will be made attractive and stimulating for the students through the plan proposals. Third, maximum utilization of available resources. In many schools, available material and human resources remain unused and unharnessed for want of any specific plans and programs. There are also schools which have surplus teachers who are not fitting into the school curriculum. In some schools, rare and useful equipments remain locked up in the almirahs. The planning would aim at utilizing the unutilized facilities so that the investment made in them does not go waste. A good institutional plan makes a thorough study of the physical and human resources available in the school and the community. Also, they will see to it that these resources are put to a maximum use in the interest of the school and students. Fourth is the school services. The school provides a large number of services. The plan has to make the best use of the available services like library, guidance service, clinical service, laboratory service, etc. The services lacking in the school may have to be provided through yearly plans. The services like sanitation, drinking water, hygiene, etc. need special attention. Fifth, discipline. The plan will also be used as a medium of establishing and maintaining discipline in the institution. The specific causes of indiscipline in relation to the institution concerned will be discovered from the past experience, and specific efforts will be made for their removal in the plan programs. Sixth, teaching learning aids. This area relates to the supply of teachers' guidebooks, reference books, library stock, maps, mathematical instruments, papers, boards, chalk pieces, charts, models, film strips, projectors, tape recorders, etc. The plan should regularly enrich the material resources of the school and ensure that they are not stocked as showpieces only, but put to regular use. Seventh, professional growth of teachers. The plan should also cover this area of professional growth and in-service training of each individual teacher. Adequate stress should be laid on in the in-service training of each individual teacher according to his or her need. Orientation programs for teachers, refresher courses, meetings, etc. for the in-service education of the entire school faculty should be planned in order to improve their instructional work. Now we shall discuss the scope of institutional planning. Planning must take the shape of an overall scheme for the improvement of the institution in respect of timetable and co-curricular and extracurricular activities for pupils, curricular and syllabus in each subject divided into monthly and weekly units and subunits, instructional materials, audio and other aids, library, building and equipment, evaluation, all the school improvement projects, improving the school plan, improvement of instruction and community programs for schools. We shall now elaborate on the steps involved in institutional planning. First is identifying the needs of the institution. Second, pooling together the resources of the institutions. Third, preparing a plan of action. Fourth, implementing the plan. And finally, evaluating and taking the corrective actions. Let us see the step 1, analysis of the present situation. Make an analysis of the present position. The staff will analyze the present situation with respect to the needs. The headmaster will constitute a planning council for this purpose. This council may be asked to prepare the blueprint of the plan, which may be finalized later. The authorities will have to analyze the present situation. The principal will hold a meeting and review whether the school building is spacious enough to cope with present needs, the equipment and furniture are adequate, the available staff is adequate, the existing institutional programs requires a reshuffling and change, the library and lab facilities are adequate, the examination system needs reform, the admission procedure needs any reform, the institution needs any additional facilities and provisions like playgrounds, hostel, staff quarters, canteen, boundary wall, etc. The last year's institutional plan should continue, etc. Now, the step 2 is a survey of the resources. Make a survey of resources. The principal and the staff of school should make a survey of the existing resources as well as the resources that can be made available. Facts and figures regarding student enrollment, staff, building, equipment, books, examination results, etc. should be tabulated for ready reference. There are 3 categories of resources to be surveyed and examined: resources available in the school, resources easily available through the government, management and school education board, and resources available in the community like public library, museum, health center, playground, gymnasium, swimming pool, assembly hall, auditorium, workshop, technical institutions, children's park, local doctors, engineers, educationists and other useful persons residing in the locality. Step 3, improvement programs. In the light of survey of the existing situation, survey of the felt needs and survey of resources available, the school may draw a priority wise list of improvement programs. Improvement programs can be classified into short term and long term programs. Each improvement program needs to be defined in terms of utility for the institution, financial implications if any, action research should be done immediately, project concerning building, project concerning campus and equipments, project concerning instructional materials, project concerning pupil welfare, library projects, etc. The improvement programs will take the form of school development programs and action research activities. These programs can be started immediately with a view of urgency of the problem. Each program and action research investigation must have some broad objectives and some specific objectives. The objectives must be stated in clear terms. These programs must further be resolved into specific tasks, and each task must be elaborated in respect of the resources, time, procedure, output, utility and evaluation. A schedule can be drawn up to fulfill the requirements of institutional planning, which includes name of the program, annual grant available, objectives, specific tasks, teachers in charge, sample involved, time schedule, methods and techniques, conclusions, evaluation and follow-up. In this way, a school can build a task-oriented plan for actual execution and implementation to meet the actual needs and solve the actual problems of the school. The entire school population must become plan-minded, and all programs for the year must be pre-planned, utilizing the existing material and human resources to the maximum. Step 4. Implementing the development program. The staff will make a selection of the programs that are to be undertaken during the enduring session and prepare full-length outline of the same. After that, the plans have to be executed according to the resources available and the procedures outlined. The execution must be done through the cooperation of all. The responsibilities must be shared between headmaster, teachers, students and members of the community. There will be division of labor according to the suitability and choice of the individuals. Committees of the staff members will be formed to carry out various programs under the plan. A time schedule for the progress of the plans will also be prepared to ensure time-bound completion. Step 5 is the evaluation of the plan. At the completion of the program, the results must be assessed quantitatively and qualitatively. A schedule can be prepared: name of the program, annual grant available, objectives, specific task, period of completion and teacher in charge. It will have to be seen whether the objectives envisaged in the beginning of the plan have been achieved or not. If achieved, to what extent it is achieved. Some of the unachieved or partially achieved objectives will overflow to the next institutional plan. Anything left undone will form the basis for follow-up and future plans. The school community will have self-evaluation in respect of targets achieved, efficacy of procedures and difficulties experienced. It has to be done frequently, leading to modifications to make the plan more practicable and useful. The supervisors and subject experts at the district headquarters will evaluate the program at least once in a year or more frequently if possible. The evaluation will be made in terms of the extent of contribution of creative ideas in planning, resourcefulness shown in implementation, the number of people involved, full and partial achievements and difficulties experienced. At this stage of evaluation, good work done by various individuals at different levels for successful completion of the plan should be recognized. Let us now see the merits of institutional planning. It helps in achieving educational objectives. It helps in achieving institutional planning, reduces future uncertainty, facilitates control, improves the infrastructure, facilitates decision making and finally improves the standard of an institution. Let us summarize what we have just discussed. In short, we can say that institutional planning is a program of development, new achievements, instructional work, co-curricular activities, etc., prepared by an educational institution on the basis of its felt needs and the resources available with a view to bringing improvement in the school and its practices. It is based on the principle of optimum utilization of resources. It is a process of thinking, deciding and willing so that an institution becomes a model institution according to its purpose. Institutional planning is a direct offshoot of educational planning. Institutional planning is a plan for the institution as a unit so that its targets are defined in the plan, its time-bound progress is determined, the rate of progress per unit time is also determined and the commitments are made in the plan which regulate and accelerate its working. It is a scheme for the efficient running, steady growth, balanced expansions and priority-wise progress of an institution. In this session, we dealt with the definition of institutional planning, its meaning and importance, characteristics, steps involved in institutional planning, scope and finally the merits of institutional planning. Thank you for watching this session on institutional planning. See you again with a new topic. Have a good day.